Hey everyone, sorry about the late. I'm always late on these things. I actually needed to charge up my iPad here more than I thought, and we're starting right at 9:11. What are the odds? Okay, we're going live with Vivo Collective. My friend Allonzo, he's down in Costa Rica, and I've been following him for a little bit. And when I started following him, he was telling me that he's been following me for a while. So it's always good to connect with folks who kind of think in the same mindset and frequency, etc. So let me see if I can. Yeah, we're going to go on with Virgo City after this. I'm still waiting on my resin. Everyone who's waiting for their pyramids, I really apologize. There's been a major delay, so I have a little bit of time to do these lives. Lots to discuss. You're not a vegan? Yeah, we're going to talk about that topic. That's always a big topic. I'm in Northern California, everyone. So let me try to find Vivo Collective here. I forget how to get people to come on. There we go. There we go. There we go. Okay. Peace. Happy, I think today's holiday, right? Yeah. Holy day. Yeah, I found another source for the resin and I'm just waiting on the shipment. So it's going to come soon. We're going to have a lot of pyramids to ship out here shortly. So I appreciate everyone if you're waiting on your family packs, combo packs, pyramids, etc. So we're waiting for Allonzo to come on from Costa Rica. Again, yeah, MLK Day, exactly. Yeah. So hope everyone had a good weekend. Getting crazy out there. Walking my dog or took him on a run and people walking around in masks. I don't understand that. Fresh air, breathe oxygen. Uh, so I got my green superfoods every morning. Here comes Alonzo. There he is.
Hey, what's going on, man?
All right. We're like right in the jungle. This is great.
Yes, our backyard, we're basically like in the middle of nowhere, so
Right on. How are you doing?
really great. How are you?
Good. I'm okay. Yeah. Um, so yeah, we I wanted to go live just to kind of learn about how life is for you in Costa Rica, and kind of learn about your journey, how you came across, you know, the detoxification process of fasting and juice feasting, and just kind of I've been doing that here and there, the juice fasting. Actually, I do it pretty much every day with just a kind of a variation. But I wanted to learn a little bit from you because you've been studying this and basically John Rose and solid food vacations for a while now, right? I've been studying John Rose for a few years.
It's actually only been a year for me, but basically
Oh,
every single day since I found John Rose, I've been studying John Rose, Dr. Robert Morse, Dan McDonald, Lou Corona, everyone who I post on my story. I kind of got obsessed on studying the information and reading books and researching, and
and
Vivo Collective kind of became a page to share what I was finding rather
right,
than just letting it go in the brain.
right, and there's Arnold Ehret too. I've learned a lot from him. Um, so, when you watch John Rose videos, you realize that we all have this cesspool, this serpent in our, the mucoid plaque, right? Of just years of accumulated toxins that's in our food, that's in our everything, right? We have a very toxic environment. Um, so I think the only way to really get that out and not be full of shit is to do a solid food vacation. So how many? Tell me about your solid food vacations and what that journey has been like for you, and then I'll tell you what my daily routine is and how it's kind of a variation of juice feasting.
Sure, yeah. A lot of people say that this mucoid plaque doesn't exist, and the only real way to find out is to try this solid food vacation juice fast for yourself and see what comes out of you, and document it for others to see. And it's actually documented on my YouTube. I showed on my YouTube what actually came out of me, which is horrendous. So
Oh man.
Disclaimer to anyone who goes on YouTube to see. But I had to show it because others had shown it before me. And I think it just goes to show what is actually inside of us. And I'm only 22 years old, so 20 years of eating the wrong foods, that accumulated inside my gut. And
Wow.
it started to cause digestive issues for me. And that can manifest into any illness or disease for anyone else.
Right.
The root cause is just waste and toxins in the body. And so I started to have digestive problems and somehow stumbled upon John Rose. I was already juicing for 7 months prior to that because of Joe Cross, Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. He goes on a 60-day juice fast and gets off all medication, loses tons of weight. So that really inspired me, but I never thought I could do a long juice fast until I found John Rose. And
How
the
long did
first
you
video
go?
I found from John Rose, I went 125 days, so about 4 months.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
And after the first few days, it gets a little easier, right?
Yeah, definitely. Probably give it a good week, and then it gets pretty easy from there. It really just depends on the person, depends on what kind of environment you're in, what your past is like. But yeah, I just decided that I wanted to go the distance, which John Rose says. He basically challenges people to drink nothing but juice, 1 to 2 gallons of juice every single day, until basically you stop pooping old waste matter, and when it stops coming out, because it stops smelling, stops looking horrendous. All these things that seem normal to us are not normal, and you start to get this reconnection of how our digestive system is really supposed to work.
Yeah. So I haven't gone 100. Gosh, that is so long, man. I mean, tell us what that is really amazing, especially at 22. So I'm 42, and you're experiencing this at a younger age. So you got a leg up on me. I was doing like standard American diet, like all my 20s and stuff like that. So I have definitely a serpent in there that still needs to get out, I think. But tell us, can you tell us, like, some people who are new to juicing, maybe like a good juicer to find that might be affordable, and there's obviously like different ways to kind of pair what you're juicing, and celery, kale, apples, etc. What's a good juicer? Maybe some people can just find that's not too expensive that you recommend off the top of your head.
Totally.
And what are some
Yeah,
good, just like, beginner recipes that people can pair together?
totally. And just for anyone watching, if you go to the link in my bio, there's this link there where you can put in your email to get access to a free guide on solid food vacation and juice feasting. And I talk about all the information I'm going to be sharing today about what juicer to get. I compare different juicers. But so you can go reference that after this live. But in general, there's several different
Uh-oh.
works for them. That's why I list several options on there. But in general, the best juicer is going to be a slow masticating juicer. You can kind of get by with any type of juicer as long as it's a slow juicer. The fast juicers are the ones you're going to see that where you feed it from the top and the blade's spinning really fast, and it's just
Right.
like shreds all of the produce. That's going to oxidize your juice very quickly, and you're going to lose out on a lot of juice because if you can see, the pulp is very wet most of the time. And I use that for 60 days on my juice fast, but I could have taken it to the next level with that slow juicer, which I eventually did.
So you have to drink it right away because it oxidizes, right? With the one
With the
that's
fast juicer, yeah,
faster. Yeah.
you'll taste it, and the quality is different immediately. You'll taste the difference, and yeah, I also go into my course, which is coming out soon as well.
Okay, so you're gonna have a course where people can kind of do a step-by-step process on the best way to do it.
Exactly, yeah, and I show how to juice, how to prep everything, store everything. I do a live comparison of all, like, 4 different juicers.
Okay,
But just
cool.
to throw some good juicer brands out there, my favorite and the one I use is the Nama juicer. I see a lot of people use that. NAMA. The Green Star is probably the best one out there that I've seen.
And how much do those run? Just so
So
people get an
the
idea.
Nama juicer is about $400. The Green Star is anywhere from $500 to $600. And then there's a few others. You're going to be looking at a $300 investment for a good
Yeah.
good juicer for sure.
Right. Yeah.
But you can also find good juicers like on Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that's one of the biggest things is people don't realize that once you detoxify yourself, you're gonna get in kind of like a new mindset. You know, like we don't have you don't have parasites kind of controlling your thoughts as much. You know, I think food addiction is like such a big part of our society in like Western culture. You know, like we're taught to just consume, 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 and I find myself getting into that sometimes at night. Like sometimes I'm just like, you know, I don't eat too much during the day. It's like mostly liquids, and I find myself overeating at night, and I don't feel good afterwards. And it's just like I didn't have the discipline to just have like one or two portions. I had that third or fourth one. You know what I mean? Do you ever run into that? I mean, like just finding the discipline to just like stop. Like I know that tastes good. That's sometimes what I struggle with.
Yeah, totally. I still struggle with that, even eating the right foods, if you want to say it. Um, another reason why I did my juice fast was because I was dealing with the food addiction and an eating disorder, and
Oh wow.
I dealt with it for several months, and I knew I had it. I even went to my therapist to talk about it, and even he didn't really understand. And and I know this is something that a lot of people deal with, and so I really tried to dig deep within that during my juice fast, and I came out of it on the other side a lot better because I let go of that connection and that addiction to food that I had. And it's actually kind of funny because after my juice fast, I didn't really crave or want or desire these foods that kind of I felt like were holding me back for such a long time. I only like desired fresh, raw, living foods. And it sounds kind of crazy to say to some people, but really like your taste buds start to change when
Mm-hmm.
you start to reconnect and start to eat the right foods again. Like your whole microbiome starts to change.
Right. Right.
But yeah, I still deal with like overeating issues sometimes. Even eating too much salad, especially when you're combining a lot of foods and mixing different things. That's when you start to run into like your body can't uh, sense what's coming in, and so therefore it can't give you the right signals if like that's that's when
That's
you're not hungry anymore. So
right.
like mostly I like to eat simple combinations or just one fruit at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, in the evenings I like to eat a salad, but for lunch, for example, I'll eat papaya until my body tells me like I'm not hungry anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
and that's a great way to reconnect to your natural hunger sensation. So
Yeah.
that way you don't overeat.
So everyone, this is Vivo Collective, Allonzo. People are asking, you know, who you are. So yeah, go give Allonzo a follow. He's got good information, good videos, short clips that you can watch. Um, tell us, tell me about your food addiction and your eating disorder. You said I don't think I've ever had eating disorder. I'll just give you a quick rundown of my life. Like I grew up standard American diet, you know. My mom came from England, so she was cooking like, you know, Brussels sprout, a lot of veggies and stuff, but we had meat, of course, you know, lamb chops and all that kind of stuff. And then I played college baseball and I got drafted to play baseball, played in the minors a few years. And they were always telling us protein, 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 you know, get animal products, you know, tuna, you know, fish, chicken, all this stuff. And, so that was the indoctrination I grew up with, you know. And then in my 30s, it became a different story where my sister, who was vegan her whole life, pretty much since she was a teenager, she would start sending me slaughterhouse footage, and that just was like crushed me. And so then I was like, I don't want to do that anymore. So I started researching ways to eat plant based and everything, and I found out it wasn't that hard as I thought. I just easily transitioned. I didn't miss meat at all. And so now I just have basically superfood powders and plant-based tinctures throughout the day. And then I have a plant-based meal at night that I focus on G-bombs, greens, beans, onions, mushrooms, berries, and seeds. And so avocados, tomatoes, a lot of stuff's from our garden. We have an organic farmer down the street who I work with and get stuff. So everything's organic. But that solid meal at night, I do herbalize. I like sativa. I feel good. Nice creative space. And that's my problem right now is I'm having like 3 or 4 portions at night. and I don't have the discipline to just be like, I'm just going to stick with this salad and then one portion. And I'll have like 3 or 4. Then I'll have a probiotic and a kombucha. And I won't wake up feeling like heavy and bloated or anything like that. I don't ever feel like that, but I know I didn't have the discipline to just have like 1 or 2 portions. So that's kind of my story. What was your story with like your eating disorder? I'm really curious about that. When people have eating disorders in
Yeah.
general.
Yeah, it seems like I was led to a similar position that you were. I started dieting basically in middle school because I was a serious athlete. I played basketball competitively, and so I started dieting in middle school and high school. You know, same standard American diet, same bodybuilding diet. You know, chicken, fish, rice, little bit of veggies. Kind of try to stay away from the fruit. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. Protein. A lot of protein powders and different supplements and things like that.
right.
And yeah, just slowly started moving closer to a better, more optimal diet, more whole
Now,
food.
when you say optimal, what did that mean to you at that time? What was more optimal to you, and
Yeah,
how did your brain sort of shift? 'Cause
yeah.
mine
When I
shifted
say
from
optimal,
slaughterhouse.
I
What
mean
is?
just more, yeah, more whole plant-based foods. And but even at the time, I found this one book called The Warrior Diet, which was more bringing in more whole foods, even though I was still eating meat at the time. It was like organic, grass-fed meat, opposed to hormone-filled fake stuff at the store or whatever. Like I was just, yeah, bringing in more whole foods. And then, yeah, eventually I went vegan after I finished basketball. This was in college. But throughout that whole time, I feel like dieting and then coming off dieting unconsciously was creating that eating disorder. I didn't,
Mm,
I didn't think of it as an eating disorder at the time. I was just a young kid, athlete, and all my friends were going out and eating McDonald's, and you know I'd be dieting. So like that messes with your subconscious in a way, you know, restricting yourself. And then I would
mm,
binge later on, you know. I remember times when I would just like overeat on fast food, but at the same time hiding it from other people because I was trying to keep up a persona that I was trying to be the best athlete possible and that I only ate this certain way. So, yeah, now that I look back, I was subconsciously creating that eating disorder. So
mm.
then when I finished basketball, I gained a little bit of weight because I stopped exercising. I just started eating out. I was on my computer all the time. I was a college student, so I was trying to save money just by eating fast food.
Yeah, we're losing him a little bit. Okay. Uh-oh. All right. I don't know if anyone else is seeing the delay. Might be from just because he's in the jungle in Costa Rica. um, yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people have, food addictions, eating disorders. So I'm always curious. Anyways, okay, you broke up for a little bit. I don't think
Yeah. Are we good now?
we're good now. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Cool.
So okay, so you found yourself in this eating disorder. You're trying to maintain this persona, and then you're dieting, and then you're going back from the diet. And then what triggered you to switch to whole food plant based? I'm always curious about how people make that leap.
Yeah, so I just wasn't feeling good. I stopped exercising after high school. I just started eating a lot of fast food,
Right.
and I didn't like what I saw in the mirror. You know, I gained 20, 30 pounds, and so I was just looking for something, and all of a sudden I found like a vegan documentary called What the Health. Sure, you've
Right.
heard of it.
Yeah.
And I watched that, and overnight I went vegan.
Mm.
And from then on,
Overnight. Wow. Okay.
from then on, I just started to kind of researching, watching YouTube videos, reading books, and I was still eating a lot of processed food like vegan burgers, vegan junk food, all that stuff. I went through
Yeah.
that phase, and I eventually found 80-10-10 by Doug Graham, which is all about the raw food diet and eating a primarily fruit-based diet. I tried that for a little bit, didn't really love it, and so yeah, it was just a journey. And then 2 years later, I got into Fully Raw Christina, and then found John Rose, and so it was like a long transition of, you know, cutting out meat, cutting out dairy, cutting out processed foods, bringing in more whole foods, and then eventually, you know, doing bringing in juices, and then doing the juice feast.
Yeah, yeah. Cool, man. So yeah, so I sort of juice every day. The superfood powders I have, they didn't come from a juicer, but like they are basically just all those nutrients condensed, and then you mix it with water, and so it's kind of similar, but I don't really have the time to do it. I'm just constantly doing other stuff. So I feel like juicing takes a little effort. You know, you have to clean the juicer. There's a lot of processes, and I just feel like I just don't have the time for that every day. What do you feel about that? Do you have time for all that? I mean,
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of effort, and I definitely understand where you're coming from. Like, there's some days here where I don't really juice anymore. You know, I'll juice one time in the morning, or someone else makes some juice, and maybe they'll make a little extra for me. But I really did burn myself out with juicing every day. Like, I spent 2.5 hours every single day in 2020 juicing. So I think juicing is definitely a temporary solution to transition us into a better way of life. Like,
yeah,
juicing is not natural. Like, a lot of people try to argue that, and I agree with them. It's not natural, but it's a way to adapt to our damaged state, because really we what we've been doing for the last hundreds of years, like, is hasn't been natural either. Like, with processed foods, spraying chemicals on our food, um, killing animals, all these things, we've damaged our bodies. So we have to adapt in a way where juicing comes in. And so I think if someone does have the time and can create the time for themselves, I think in the long term it can definitely benefit them. Um, you know, maybe getting up a little bit earlier and juicing, or juicing. If you get a good quality juicer that can store for 2 to 3 days, like the Green Star or the Nama or something, you can juice in the evening and have your juices ready for the next day and the day after that.
yeah. That's what I was
Um,
gonna say. You could do um, like I've been wanting to get bulk rice, bulk beans, and just make a huge pot of rice and beans, and then just we have that throughout the week. But you could also do the same when it comes to juicing, right? You could get the slow juicer, and you could make a bunch of different ones, and then you could put them in the fridge, right, and cover them maybe, and then use them throughout the week. I think some people do that too, right?
right, exactly. Yeah, the only thing you want to do is make sure you store your juice all the way to the top of the jar, so that there's no air inside of it, so that it can't oxidize.
Oxidize, right,
Yeah,
right. Because then you lose everything that's good in there, really. Yeah.
right.
Yeah, so I mean, when you watch, people should watch John Rowe's video. Everyone go to John Rowe's. He's got like 100,000 followers on YouTube. He has got so much knowledge when it comes to not only just solid food vacations, which he thinks can essentially heal the world. Because once we get all that serpent out, we are like, we're on this new level, you know, when we have these like biophotons just, you know, filling up our cells. And, you know, I think that's one place people can start. And he's got like, you know, videos on how to do it. You know, you're going to have a workshop on how to do it. What if people just juice like once or twice a week? That would be a good start too, right?
Definitely, yeah. Like, for example, before I did the juice feast, I was juicing every day for 7 months, and that was my way of transitioning without even knowing it. Now my mom juices every single day. She does like a green juice in the morning, or a like a carrot. This is the chance for me to give you some recipes. She does like carrot, apple, orange, ginger, and she does that in the morning. And then in the afternoon, she has a green juice with like celery, cucumber, spinach, lemon, apple, ginger. And she does that every single day. And that's what I basically did every single day. And I think, yeah, incorporating juice into your life as much as you can
Mm-hmm.
is gonna be great, because you're basically flooding yourself with a concentration of nutrients, vitamins, minerals, and whereas you wouldn't eat a big plate of vegetables. Like, come on, like, most people can agree that we don't really love vegetables. Like, we have to mix it and put it with different things. Like, we don't just want to eat like a bunch of celery and cucumber. And even if we did, we wouldn't be eating as much as if we were juicing it, or like a bunch of
Yeah.
carrots. So like you're concentrating that nutrition and
Hmm.
leaving out the hard to digest fiber, which fiber is important, but
For your colon.
in
Yep.
this case, yeah, you're stepping back on the fiber temporarily so you can
Right.
flush out that old stuff to make room for more fiber in the future that's going to feed your microbiome.
So someone's saying, what about store-bought juices? Are those still effective? I would think that those have maybe oxidized a little bit and probably are not, they're processed to a certain extent, right? They'll have additives maybe, right?
Yeah, I talk about that in my course as well. I compare like
Okay.
different store-bought juices. So um, pretty much every juice at the store is going to be pasteurized in some form. There's
Right.
different forms of pasteurization, but uh, in order for it to be sold at that store, it's going to be pasteurized unless you're going to a juice bar where they're doing it fresh, or
Right.
they like it expires and expires in like 3 days. So um, it's not gonna have as many nutrients because those nutrients are killed. Sorry,
No, no
sorry,
worries. No
my
worries.
voice here.
No worries. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah, so it's, maybe once in a while get a store-bought juice, but if you can, just make an investment for a juicer. I think is a good investment for your health, and maybe just start with just get accustomed to doing it. Maybe once a day, once a week, just mix it in. I think just to get those raw nutrients, minerals, vitamins in a very packed way, is going to be good for you. Um, what are your thoughts on I feel like posting on this topic, on the topic of food, is it triggers people in ways that like I don't know. Why do you think people get so triggered about the food topic, um, and why do you think people take it so personally? What's going on with people's mindsets? I can tell you my opinion, but I'm curious what you think.
yeah, I mean we have like a very deep personal connection with food, like, and it's embedded into our traditions and our families, and
Culture.
yeah, culture for sure. Like if you start to change your diet, you start juicing, like people around you are going to get triggered even though you're not even trying to change their diet. They automatically feel like you're judging them. So
Hmm.
like for me, like my friends I just started to feel like a weird energy with my friends and family because I was starting to go into a better way of life. They feel like you're kind of like dissing their culture or their traditions.
Yeah.
And we also use food to suppress our emotions, and
Hmm.
so we have like a deep connection to it in that way. It's kind of like a relationship. So I think that's why people get so triggered about it.
Yeah. I mean, throughout the years, I don't know how long you've been following me, but since I'm going on 7 years of being fully vegan, and health is just great. I find that what works for me is just having those superfoods throughout the day and just nothing but liquids and not eating whole foods during the day. That just really works for me. Um, and I've had people say, you shouldn't tell people just to eat one meal a day because people have eating disorders and they don't need to feel pressure to eat less and everything. And I'm saying, listen, just try eating a little bit less, because we are so indoctrinated to eat and consume. And I think whatever you eat, as long as you eat just maybe a little bit less of it, you're going to be better. I don't think we need as much food as we've been taught. And I don't know how breatharians do it, but they do it. And fruitarians, what are your thoughts on people who are fruitarians? Are they not getting um, are they not getting certain nutrients that they should be getting? Maybe with incorporating vegetables or grains and legumes, etc.
Yeah, that's an interesting topic. I have a lot of friends who are fruitarian, and I think that fruitarianism is the optimal diet for humans. I think we are fruitarians. We're frugivores. Although in these days, our soil is compromised. We have acid rain being poured down on all of our food. Um, yeah, like the fruit is just not as nutrient and mineral dense as it used to be, and so you see some of these long-term fruitarians, they start to deal with certain mineral deficiencies
Hmm.
and certain issues, and I think that's where like the leafy green vegetables start to come
Yeah.
in, green juices,
Yeah.
certain superfoods. Um, I think, yeah, I love to have my salad at night, and even though most of it is fruit like cucumber, tomato, avocado. I still do the leafy greens like lettuce and some kale, spinach, arugula, and I like to juice the greens. I think that's important. So I
Yeah.
definitely think we need to get those minerals from somewhere else, not just the fruit these days, unfortunately.
Yeah. You know what's interesting about the microbiome though? The more, the longer I'm whole food plant based, the more the food, the better the food tastes for me. Like I never thought I would really just enjoy a salad, the way a salad tastes when the tomatoes burst in your mouth.
Yeah.
That's funny I said, but just everything kind of I like crave a nice hearty salad, and so like I'll do pictures of my dinners, and I'm like, I do like this sometimes, this just the salad, and I just want I want people to realize that you should be having one salad every day. I think everyone should have one salad a day. If you eat meat, if you eat fish, if you eat chicken, whatever, have that salad. I know for a fact you don't need to eat those animal foods. Um, and like you said, we are frugivorous herbivores, in my opinion, based on our anatomy, our physiology. We can eat flesh, we can, but if you look at the long-term studies, it shows the more you eat, the more you incorporate into your diet, the higher chances of getting various diseases, and the shorter your life becomes. I mean, there's literally thousands of studies on this. So that's why this topic is really interesting to me, because there are people convinced that meat is making them healthy, and I have my theories on why they think that. What are your thoughts on people coming across your page, maybe making some comments? Do you ever come across meat eaters who are like, you can't just juice, or you can't just eat fruits and veggies, you need meat? Like, what are your thoughts on that? Because I have my own thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be people who don't agree, and luckily my page hasn't been bombarded by the carnivore
But the
trolls yet.
trolls.
But I try not to argue with people. Just I like to take in all perspectives and listen to people and hear them out. And I think experience is key. If you really think that that's the diet, then go ahead and do it and see how it works for yourself. But I also challenge you to try the other diet that someone else is promoting, or to go try a juice feast and see how it works for yourself. I'm not going to tell you that juice feasting is the way to go. For me, it was, and I challenge you to go try it for yourself. So, yeah, that's the
Yeah.
thing. Is like, you don't have to believe what anyone says. You can just go try it and see if it works. And
Yeah.
in the end, you're going to find out. But yeah, also science that pretty much backs it up. So
Yeah.
if you
It's
really,
it's
if you really want to, you can back it up yourself.
it's a highly charged subject, because you have doctors and people writing books out there, saying that we have to go back to you know how we were years ago or whatever. But the fact of the matter is, we're in 2021. Our food is being sprayed. Even the grass-fed animals, they're eating from soil that's been depleted as well, and that's where they get their nutrients from. So we live in a toxic world, and I think juicing and juice feasting and solid food vacations is something people can incorporate to get that density of nutrients in a way that is kind of a simple way to get it done. Um, and people are always looking for ways to lose weight, and they do these like keto diets, and they're like starving themselves. And I think you don't need to go do these extreme diets. I think you could just literally maybe try to eat a little bit less, maybe just do more intermittent fasting, and maybe try mixing in one day a week of just doing juicing, after you get your juicer, and watch, John Rose videos on how to do it. I think, I think that'll be beneficial for people.
Definitely.
It's
I think it's like less about what you add in and more about the more that you eliminate, for sure.
right.
And,
We're never told it's we're just told to consume. We're never told to like eliminate, like I think there's a certain recipe for health, and I think part of that health is elimination. There's four steps, right, to when you're eating. you're ingesting, you're absorbing, you're eliminating. What's the fourth one?
Utilizing.
Utilizing, right? So if you're not doing all those 4 steps, something is off. And so I think a big part is, you know, like John Rose talks about, is we have 2 fluids in the body, right? One is the kitchen, one is the bathroom, right? So the kitchen is the blood, and then the bathroom would be the lymph fluid, right? And so that's where exercise comes in. You played basketball, I played basketball and baseball, and I think we're kind of being molded into being like home more, just like, you know, in front of our screens and not exercising as much. Like, exercise is key to move the lymph. I think I like jumping around. I like just going out and jumping around and doing, like, you know, kettlebell workouts and push-ups and pull-ups and stuff. And I think if everyone can do that every day, as well as having a salad every day, moving your lymph will help you with the eliminations, right?
Yeah, I think just going out for a walk is like probably the best exercise you can do for yourself. Jumping on a trampoline or a rebounder, going outside in your garden, doing yard work. Like, the people, I don't know if you've heard of like the blue zones, but the people who live the longest are the people who get in a form of light exercise every single day, like just working out in their garden or doing yard work, building things. That's exercise in itself, and that's moving your lymph system.
Right. You never hear about the lymph. People have no idea about the lymph system, you know, from mainstream. Like, why would that be? Why would they not tell us about moving the lymph and how helpful that is for everything, just to get the body moving more, to be less stagnant? You know, there's like a law of inertia. You know, that which continues to move will continue to move. You know, that which doesn't will stay stagnant, you know. And so we just want to continue to keep moving. So you can do little things every day. Just, you know, hop around, go for a walk, jump around, make it fun. Like, you know, look at kids, look at animals, look at dogs, you know, they're always jumping around and playing and stuff, you know, and we're just like, well, let's watch TV and you know, anyway, so yeah. When does your workshop come out, and where can people see that?
Yeah, it's going to be coming out in the next 1 to 2 weeks. I've been if you follow me on here, I'll be posting about it. And if you go to the link in my bio, you can subscribe to my newsletter. I'll be posting about it on there. There'll be a page on there where you can see the promo and some free previews of that.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm excited about that coming out. There's about 55 lessons in there, all about getting started with juicing to starting a juice feast and breaking the juice fast, and everything you need to know.
Right on, right on. Well, I think we have about 15 more minutes. So I was going to ask you, how is life in Costa Rica, man? Because I'm in California, the United States. We are being turned into another world, man. Like, I was on with Nomad Soul a couple of weeks ago, and he was in Mexico, down, you know, exploring the Mayan temples down there, and he came back, and he's just like, you can feel this just fearful, stagnant energy in the air in the States. And I see it just, you know, taking my dog for a run, and people just are fearful. You know, how's life in Costa Rica?
Yeah, that brings us to an interesting point, because when I got into the John Rose stuff, that was my awakening. During my juice fast, I awakened to everything going on in the world. It was a perfect time. You know, I started in January of 2020, so halfway through my juice fast in March is when this pandemic was declared. And I kind of started to question things. You know, I was questioning things about my health, and then I was questioning things about the healthcare system and the food system. And then, you know, John Rose was talking about the powers that be and all of these things, conspiracies. So I started to dive into that stuff. And then I felt like really the odd one out. I lived in New Mexico in the USA before this. And I really started to notice, like, how everything was just going down and going downhill. Everyone was just zombies, wearing masks everywhere. I was like the only one at the store without a mask, my mom and I. And it was just like a really hard place to live. Yeah, like you said, you could feel the energy. Everyone's just in fear. I can't even go out on the trails without someone telling me that I need to be wearing a mask. Like, it was crazy. And
So insane, yeah.
I mean, I'd always wanted to like move out someday, but
So how did you make that happen? Because people are looking for places to go. People are looking for communities to join, and it feels like kind of hopeless and helpless for
yeah,
many people. Moving is not easy.
yeah, no, no.
How are you going to support yourself? You're in a new culture. You're in a new you have a new currency. You have so many things. So how did you make it happen? Because I'm really curious. Because
Yeah,
you
luckily for me, I already knew Spanish, so I knew I wanted to go to Latin America, whether it was Mexico, Costa Rica, or some other country that spoke Spanish. I knew that I wanted to come over here, um, and then I also found friends from around the world who also wanted to move out and go to a different place and to a place where there's more natural food. So there's tons of fruit here that is available to us, so that works out. Um, so we're sharing a place, and that's the way to make it work for us. Like I couldn't live on my own; I couldn't support myself. I have to share a place with other people, and luckily, I have like-minded people around me, which is really great. And working online is really the way to go. I mean, that's the only way I can support myself right now, unfortunately, in this world where we need money to continue to survive. I don't think it should be that way, but unfortunately, it has to. But
right.
I think there's tons of ways to move. There's land for sale everywhere here. So if you have the money, um, you can find a place and get back to nature. Like buy your own piece of land or move your family. Find people who want to do it with you. Start growing your own food. I think it has to start now in order to start building this new world that we want to live in. Because if we're continuing to support growth, that's what I was feeling like back in New Mexico. I was supporting these grocery stores. I couldn't really
Hmm.
grow that much of my own food in that climate. Um,
Hmm.
I was using a bunch of plastic bags, like
Hmm.
all these things, and I was like, I don't want to support this type of life. Like, I don't want the world to
Yeah.
be like this. Like, I want to
What?
support farmers markets, and there was only like a few farmers markets in New
Mhm.
Mexico, really expensive, weren't even that good. So I'm like, I want to like go out and create my own world. Um,
So what
so
area? What area are you in down there?
so we're on the Pacific side of Costa Rica,
Okay.
in the Diamante Valley area.
Okay. And
Yeah.
what are some drawbacks, adjustments? What are some if people wanted to look into moving down there and maybe getting a little tribe together, maybe a couple families buying some land, what sort of adjustments and challenges have you ran into that you would maybe recommend to other people who are looking to do that?
Yeah, I think it's just finding the right place, finding a good place to rent for a while so you can feel it out and see what it's like. I think that's probably the most difficult thing. If you don't speak Spanish, of course, it's going to be a little bit challenge, just as any foreign country would be. But there's a lot of people here who speak English, and it's generally easy to get by. Um, One other challenge is you kind of need a car in most areas, unless you're on maybe the Caribbean side where you can kind of just get on a bus or hitchhike or something. But usually a car is pretty needed. Like we're renting a car right now, which is pretty expensive and difficult. So eventually we're gonna
Yeah.
have. So those are like the small challenges we faced. Besides that, I mean, I'm kind of out of the loop now. Like whereas when I was back home, I was constantly staying updated on everything going on in the world with uh, the jab being developed and the mask stuff and the presidential election, all these things. And out here, I just don't care anymore. Like I don't.
Yeah.
It's my we're away from the whole world, and I don't say that to be prideful or anything. I'm really grateful, and I think everyone has their place. Like maybe if I was to go back home, I would still accept that as part of my journey, and um, I would still be grateful for what I had. But out here, this is a life that everyone could live by getting away from the cities and coming back to nature, and bringing in more of an energy that's loving and compassionate and not fearful like they want us to live right now.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how's the government, the economy? Is there, I mean, because in my experience, I was researching maybe moving to South America like last year. And then, I heard about there's a thing called Project Pogo, Project Zephyr, where they're going to essentially try to take out the patriots and the truthers that are really getting in the way and not being zombie slaves. And so I was like, I'm going to jet down to South America. So I was looking into Ecuador, various places, but I had a talk with this researcher named Deborah Tavares, who runs the website stopthecrime.net. She lives in my county, and she was showing me how corrupt and controlled by the CIA a lot of countries are down there, and like the mafia basically. And there's always the cartels, of course. So I kind of was like, I don't know if that's the right answer to do it, and I don't know. So what's that like as far as
Yeah,
like,
can't honestly speak too much about the government and the economy here quite yet. I think the best thing for someone to do is if they're looking to move to a new place is join multiple Facebook groups that are in that country. Like I joined multiple groups here that are called like expats in Costa Rica
right.
or expats wherever. And you can find a lot of that information on there. But one thing that was kind of important for coming here was that they don't have a military. So if forced these things, I don't want to say the word, so there's no censorship, but they wouldn't be able to force anything upon us here. They only have like a police system, and it's not as corrupt as some other countries. So that was pretty important to me, so I wouldn't have to worry about that.
Okay.
Yeah, in terms of government, I don't know too much. It seems to be a fairly decent government. I mean, there's still restrictions down here. Whatever business you enter, you still have to wear a mask and everything. But it seems like the energy here is different. Most people don't care. Like, unless you're in the big city, which is San Jose, there's like no one wearing masks outside on the beach, nothing like that. There were some beach restrictions here where they closed at like 2:30, but then after a lot of pushback, they got moved to like 6 p.m. So
Yeah.
it seems like a pretty lenient place so far.
Okay. And you've been there for how long?
It's only been a month, and
Wow. Okay.
yeah,
Really new.
another drawback is you can only get a 90-day visa,
Hmm.
and you can renew that. Although the land borders are closed right now, so in order to renew it, you have to fly out and fly back in. So that's
I
going to
see.
be something that I'm going to have to deal with in 3 months unless they extend it for some reason.
Okay.
And in that case, you might want to look at getting residency, which is
Res
if you
yeah.
decide to be here long term. But a lot of people just renew their visas; they just do a visa run. So
And you could
yeah,
do
I'm not
another. No. Okay.
I'm not
Can-
totally set on staying here. Just going with the flow and seeing how things go. So in March when my visa is up, I'll see what happens then.
Yeah. I'm kind of at the point where I think I'm going to kind of stick it out here in California for a little bit, and fight for, we do have a constitutional republic that they are decimating. They are trying to get people to forget. And I'm going to go live with a guy named Ryan, Virgo City, after this, where we're going to talk about ways we can stand up for our rights. So everyone stay tuned for that. But I wanted to get Allonzo on here, because I'm kind of jealous that you're down there in Costa Rica and living in nature like we should be living, off the grid, and around people that that can support us, and we can support them. You can grow food, you can eat fruit. Yeah, how's the water down there? Do you have clean water sources?
Yeah, we have a waterfall nearby, and I mean, all spring water is going to be somewhat contaminated at some
Yeah.
point. Some of us use a distiller, but we have the best water here, which is coconut water. Here they call
Mm.
them pipas, so we have
H
pipa water. I haven't,
H320.
yeah, exactly. I haven't really had any water since I've been here, like not even one sip. I just drink coconut water all day and get my water from my fruits. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, and I mean, the tap water still is somewhat dirty. I think it's always going to be, but it's not dangerous like it is in Mexico. So
That's good. Yeah, people need to know that like the best water on the planet is the H320 structured water that's found in fruits and in vegetables and stuff like that. But it's actually in there. That's why we are water-based beings, and that's why when you do juicing, when you eat a lot of fruit, you're getting that structured water in you. And that's another whole other topic as far as like people drinking unclean water, unstructured water. And so there's a lot of ways you can do it. I use what's called Oro Liquid Gold. Yeah, and it's passed all my tests. It's got ionic bioavailable minerals that you can just add. It structures your water, and it purifies contaminants and in other drinks like juices and etc. So I just spray a little bit in. I like distilled water as well. But there's nothing like getting some juicy fruit, and that water inside is what you need. So that's why juicing is so important. So just kind of wrap this up. What are some ways that we can maybe incorporate juicing into our lives a little bit easier? Just like if someone's just brand new to this whole thing, you could just basically go to the store, get what, right? Like what would be like the 4 basic things people can start with once they buy their juicer? What would you say?
Yeah, I would say, look into the medical medium. He has a lot of stuff about celery juice. I definitely
Celery.
started with that. Juice things that have a high yield, like watermelon or other melons, pineapples, oranges. Don't be afraid of the fruit juices. We're constantly told to be afraid of sugar, and fruit sugar is going to cause diabetes. All this stuff isn't true, and you can look at all the content on my page to find out more information about that, and look into John Rose, things like that. But yeah, juicing simple combinations. You don't have to throw in all these things like you see at juice bars with 8 different ingredients. Just juice watermelon juice or celery juice or cucumber juice, orange juice, whatever you like and whatever is available to you at the store. Juice those things every single day, and yeah, that's a good way to start.
Right on, right on. Okay, so your workshop starts in a couple weeks, you said?
Yeah, 1 to 2 weeks. If you just stay updated with my stories, you'll find out, and subscribe to my newsletter.
Right on. Yeah. So everyone, I just wanted to kind of introduce Allonzo to everyone. I think your page, the more you do these workshops, the more you educate people on juice fasting, juice feasting, what it is, because there's people who've never even heard of it. They probably just think juice comes in a pasteurized form in a bottle at the store, But everyone, follow Allonzo, follow John Rose on YouTube. Look into Arnold Ehret, Dr. Morse, even Sebi's kind of a little bit different. He's telling you to, eat this way to prevent disease or reverse disease, which is cool. Avoid all the hybrids and everything. But I think if you incorporate eating a little bit less and juice feasting here and there, moving your lymph, exercising, drinking clean, structured water, and getting sun, and I think obviously health is wealth. We're headed into like a medical dictatorship sort of great reset. And so people need to understand that your health is your responsibility. And so just look into juicing, maybe get a juicer for $200-$300 and start doing it. And you might really like it and enjoy it, and you'll get those nutrients. And I think it's all good if people just look into it a little bit more,
Yep, definitely. Health is the most important thing right now, and the only way we're going to change the world is by changing ourselves. So,
right.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on, man.
I
love your page as well.
But right on. Yeah, I'll be posting. I try to stay away from stuff that's going to charge people up, but there are certain truths about what humans are supposed to be ingesting, and I'm just going to keep it simple for the time being. Maybe eat a little less, focus on nutrient-dense foods, incorporate juicing, and find a way to clean and structure your water, and move that lymph, jump around, get sun. Because eliminating is a big part of, getting the waste out is a big part that we're never told about, really. It's not just about what you're eating. It's about, are you getting stuff out,
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, right on. All right, Allonzo. So we're going to sign off. I'm going to go on with Virgo City after this, and we're going to get into ways we can, keep our constitutional republic here in the States intact and defend our rights.
Keep it up.
All right.
Love it.
See you, Allonzo.
All right. Thank you, man. Peace.
All right. Later, bro.